I want to talk to you today about the full moon coming up in Pisces. I've got the chart up, and we're going to look at that in just a little bit. Um, the full moon in Pisces, I'm going to put it to you like this. It is a situation where if you are operating from an ascended space, okay, if you are operating from your higher self, if you have begun to really tap in on a regular basis, tap into who you are as a higher being, this full moon is actually going to work out quite well for you because there's a lot of very favorable aspects for higher ascended beings for living from a higher frequency perspective. However, if though you are kind of still stuck in this 3D world where the only perspectives that you really have are in a 3D. I don't how am I gonna say this? If the only perspectives you have are where basically you can't see how to live a higher vibrational life, okay? You can't figure that out. I am not live on YouTube. That is really irritating to me. Hang on, everybody on Facebook. Let me see if I can go live on YouTube as well. I don't know why this didn't do it. Okay, hang on, gang. I'm going to start the broadcast on YouTube as well. All right, there we go. Now I should be live everywhere. We're going to let my YouTube folks pop in as well. Thanks, Facebook, for showing up. Not that I don't love y'all. I do. I was just like, why am I not live on YouTube? New streaming software, guys. New streaming software. We are going to figure it out. And if anybody knows me, they know that I literally just go for it and I don't like waste time. Like it's just like, okay, whatever. I just don't waste time. I just keep it pushing. And I'm not sure why I'm still not live on YouTube, but we'll figure that out. Is YouTube being weird? I guess. Irritating. All right, well. Clearly, YouTube does not want to play nicely in the sandbox, so I guess I will just be uploading this later. All right. So let's do the darn thing. And if YouTube's not going to act right, YouTube just isn't going to act right. We'll just upload it later. As I was saying, if you have ascended to a fifth dimensional or higher realm, then it's going to be a lot easier for you. Because some of these aspects can be very difficult depending upon your perspective, right? And hello, everyone. Hello. I appreciate y'all coming and joining me over here on the book. You guys are going to get all my attention today because usually it's YouTube that goes live and Facebook doesn't. So I'm going to let me bring up the chart. Okay, so you guys hopefully can see this chart. All right. What I want you to pay attention to is a few things. We're going to talk about a few things in order. I'm going to talk about the real beneficial transits and aspects first. The very first one that's super beneficial to us is the fact that, here we are, where are we at? There we go. That Jupiter is going to be trining Mercury. And basically what's going to happen is, like, within moments of the moon over here being fully, in opposition to the sun, moon in Pisces, sun in Virgo, what's going to happen literally moments before is Jupiter, even though it's in retrograde, is going to be coming into, or I should say Mercury is coming into a trine position with Jupiter. What does that mean? That means that this is the most beneficial time for you to honestly be able to clearly think through and ascertain what direction you're meant to go in. Like, and be able to tell people this is what you want. And be able to finally understand it for yourself. I'm gonna go down here to these notes that I took down here. It is very, very benefic. I know that Mercury is about to go into retrograde here shortly. But I want us to take full advantage of that Mercury Jupiter trine. It is a very powerful influence in our lives. It brings optimism, it brings prosperity, it brings good luck, and it brings good news. It brings good instincts, future-oriented and positive thinking. And so this is an amazing trine, especially because Mercury is in Libra at that moment. Jupiter is in Aquarius at that moment. And what that trine does for us, and actually it does even trine the North Node down here. That's that upside down shoe, right? Horseshoe. It trines the North Node, and the North Node is going to be heading out of Jupiter soon. It's going to be Gemini soon. It's going to be heading out of the Gemini Sag axis and then into Taurus and Scorpio, and that's within a very short while here. We don't have long. So while we have the benefit of this North Node in Gemini that gives us this inspiration to do whatever we want and however we want, like, it really gives us a very broad inspirational boost and very broad inspirational push to really believe in ourselves and go for it. Go for everything. Go for the gusto. Go for everything, right? I don't want to say go for broke, because we're not. Like, if you're really paying attention and being tapped into, and you've awakened to the fact that everything third dimensionally, first of all, is falling apart. And if you haven't seen my 5 steps to break free from the matrix video yet, I know that it's been uploaded onto Instagram. I'll be sure to link it here. I think I already did, but I'll link it here. But it is on my YouTube channel. It's key for us to figure out how to break free. It's key for us to be like, you know what? I know who I am. Like, I put this scene at the beginning of it because one of my favorite movies, of course, is The Matrix. And so it's the Oracle in the first one talking to Neo and saying, do you think you're the one? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And she has him look up in the doorway, and it says, it's like, she's like, do you know what that means? And he's like, no. And he shook his head, and she says, it's Latin for know thyself. If you don't know who you are, if you don't awaken to who you are, and I'm not talking about just as who you are physically, I'm talking about who you are as an energetic being. That when I talk about awakened light workers and awakened starseeds and awakened souls, I mean those of us that have figured out, guess what? I'm so much more than what this avatar is. And this moon is giving you a great opportunity, a fabulous opportunity to step into that fullness of it. And stop questioning it and stop overthinking it. Can we just move? Okay, this is like a just move situation to release all of these things that are holding us down. If you're thinking in that realm. If, however, you're living in the third dimension primarily, meaning that you're living according to fear-based information, and all that you see around you basically says everything's going to hell in a handbasket, you're going to have a pretty freaking tough time with this new moon, this full moon. You are. You're going to have a pretty tough time for a while. You got to not give up. You got to just not give up. Can we just not give up? Just stop giving up. You have to come to a point. If you're still stuck in that matrix where this is the only way I can earn money, this is the only way that I can live this, I have to comply. Otherwise, my freedom, otherwise, my this, otherwise, my health, otherwise, all whatever. Otherwise, everything could be taken away from me in an instant. If that's the fear-based and you're depending upon other people and other stuff, right, for you to make sense of your life and for you to live your life, and you're not taking responsibility for the creation of your own world, you're going to have a tough time in this full moon. There's no other way I could put it. Because what was the theme of this here, guys? What's the theme? The theme, beloveds, is, I'm making sure that I'm here. The theme, beloveds, is go hard, go big, right? Live free. It's time for you to live free. Free from fear, free from the bondage, free from the doubts, free from these are my limitations. And Jupiter, even in retrograde, as it gives us a beneficial trine or relationship. Remember, for those of you that are not like huge into astrology, trines are like siblings. Okay? Siblings that are good to each other. So, in a good sibling relationship, what happens is, actually in most sibling relationships, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm riding out. Now, I have 3 brothers. They're all younger than me. I can dog them out. I can talk about them like a dog. I can do whatever. You know, we whatever. Like, we can have our problems. But at the end of the day, if something goes down, I'm there. Now, the difference between me and what a trine would do, a trine, this relationship is, it agrees with you no matter what. So we call them siblings. It agrees with you no matter what. A sextile is like cousins. Cousins will agree with you, but they're also going to tell you, hey, maybe you might want to rethink this, okay? So it's trining. Mercury in this Libra 7th house energy of balance. What's of your greatest good? How could you be in balance? How could we collaborate? How can you collaborate with others? How could others collaborate with me? How can we collaborate with the universe to make this all great? And Jupiter and Aquarius saying, yeah, and guess what? When you move into your greatness, it's all for the greatest good. And I've given you all these great gifts here. Here, take them. Here's all these abilities. Here, take them. Here's all these fabulous ideas. Take them, right? Now, even in retrograde, though, this is the thing we have to remember. Jupiter in retrograde. Jupiter in retrograde is very intuitive. Jupiter rules Sag, right? And Sagittarians sometimes tend to move. So they tend to say, they tend to speak, they tend to act without thinking. It's okay, Sag. I love you. But Jupiter in retrograde is very intuitive and will know things before it knows why. So if you tap into that intuitive energy, remember the new moon in Virgo, if you recall, go back and look. What did we do a whole meditation and a whole crystal grid for increasing your psychic and intuitive abilities? We're going to revisit that. So keep your grid up. We're going to use the same grid for the full moon. Except we're going to add some pyrite in there and bring some abundance in. Anything that the things that are most important for Jupiter is to break things down backwards. Jupiter in retrograde, to figure out why they know what they know from a logical and rational place. So basically, this is the thing, guys. You begin to be who you are, and then you begin to do these things because you're really intuitive. You're like, shh, I know I'm supposed to do this. I'm going to go for it. And then you begin to have, we talked about this even in the Matrix video, be it, do it, have it, and then that cycle, it validates your being, right? It proves your theory. So this is going to give you some intuitive ways to prove your theory. So if you've been meaning to start whatever business or break out or 10x it or do whatever you need to do to it, God dang, go do it. Hello? Do it. Now, that's beneficial. That's one of the most beneficial aspects. Mercury is also going to be squaring Pluto here. Okay. But however, I don't want us to pay super duper close attention to it, because it's like by the time this full moon really gets going, we're going to be like more than 5 degrees. It's kind of a weak aspect. So normally it would make you really super suspect of everything, like of yourself internally. Mercury's a personal planet. I wouldn't worry so much about it. It's not going to be as effective or as influential of an energy as it's challenging, because it makes you question whether or not you really should move. Can I really effectuate this change, especially within Capricorn? Because it's going to feel like, everything is just coming down around you. And that's going to be in the 11th house there from the moon's perspective. So that's like the house of Aquarius, is the house of the collective. So the collective is probably telling you if you looked at the economy right now, you would say this is the worst gosh darn time to start a business. This is the worst gosh darn time to do anything independent. And what this chart and what my gut and what I've been hearing is telling me, it's not. It is the best time. Why? Because the people, and you can look at this historically, the most millionaires historically are made during either recessions or especially depressions. The most millionaires are born, are created during times of economic downturn. Why? Because those are the people that take the biggest chances and can see beyond what they see beyond what they see. They see with their third eye beyond what they see. Do you understand? Okay, now, so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Jupiter is semi-sextiling Pluto, so it's in somewhat agreement. 15 degrees away. That is going to help you transform and transfigure this kind of fighting against yourself energy. It's going to help you transform that, and it's going to help you be in greater agreement with that. It's going to be quite assistive to you. This is, again, those who are awakened and ascended. If you're not, we're going to have a real freaking tough time. You're going to have a hard go of it. And I'll tell you why right now. Because there's a lot of hard aspects going on here. There's this aspect. We talked about the Pluto squaring Mercury. Well, for those that aren't ascended and are not tapped in and are not awakened and are not listening to their higher self, you know what that says? You can't change. You can't transform. You can't. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Don't you know what's going on in the world? And let me tell you, Pluto retrograde. This energy it's giving off. This needs to feel like they are on the right track. So this is the questioning. Pluto in retrograde. If it happens to not be on the right track, so if what you're doing you don't feel like, or you think that you're not on the right track, things in your life will feel incredibly off. This is also a good way to tell whether or not you are on the right track. So if everything you've been doing lately makes you feel freaking off, and especially coming and leading up to this full moon, will you release that and let it go and change direction? Being on the right track for this energy is so important for these folks, because more than anything, they want to want to be reconnected, or want to reconnect with Creator, doing what they are here on Earth to accomplish, to stay on their soul task, and then to move on to whatever comes next. And that's in the 11th house. Service to others. This energy, Capricorn, 11th house, Pluto in retrograde, squaring Mercury in Libra, is saying, guess what? If you're not doing your soul's purpose, or you're not even making an attempt, and you haven't even started on that path, you are going to feel like you're flipping out of whack. And you're going to know it. And for those people that are not ascended and not awakened, guess what? They're going to be like, I don't know what's going on. Nothing's working. I don't get it. Everything's off. And they're going to get super lost. They're going to get lost in the sauce. So your third dimensional friends that haven't awakened are going to be feeling like ish. And I have to remember, I'm on Facebook, so I'm not sure how much cursing I can do. They're going to feel like crap. Hello? They're going to feel like crap. You potentially could begin to feel like crap if you slide back down into the woe is me, third dimensional BS, and don't remain elevated. Instead of sliding back down and saying, oh man, I ain't done it. I ain't really started. Oh my God, I should have started like 20 years ago. Oh my God. Stop it. Cut it out. Dust yourself off and take part of that fabulous Sagittarian Jupiter energy and get the frick moving. Because if you are ascended, you are going to feel like, holy crap, I actually do have a purpose. Man, if you've ever worked with me, you already know, we know what your purpose, at least part of it, is. Holy crap, man, maybe I really should take her up on what she's saying, and I should listen to her, and maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I can actually launch. Maybe I can actually, whatever it is, maybe I can, and guess what, you can. But from a third dimensional perspective, they're not going to be able to see anything further than what's going on around them, and then wonder what's the purpose of it, and not really have a reconnection with Creator in order to know and ascertain that. They haven't red pilled. They haven't come out of the matrix. So they're not living in what is really the real world, which is outside of the dimension of the holographic world we're living in. Now, moving on. Let's go up here. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. Saturn. Saturn isn't trining Pluto. Sorry. I did the Mercury square Pluto. Okay, Mars trining Saturn. This is interesting. So Mars down here in Virgo, in Libra, excuse me, is trining Saturn. Up here. And this doesn't even show you that, this chart, which I'm not oh yeah, it does right here. This is the blue. Mars trining Saturn. Mars is going to give you strength and ambition and perseverance to take on the hardest tasks. And in Libra, it doesn't necessarily like being in Libra, because it's a very aggressive energy for a Venus-ruled sign. However, that's that flip side of Libra that people aren't usually, prepared for. You know what I'm talking about, that blunt side, that side that'll cut you up one side and down the other, and dish out justice. Okay, that's that. It's gonna, your patience and your self-discipline now pays off, because now we've got this ambition, right? And you can keep going along and not get discouraged. This is a great transit to follow up on your passions. Again, lining up with Mercury trining Jupiter. And I'm going to tell you something else. Jupiter's in that 12th house. That's that karmic house. That's the house of the unknown. That's the house of the unseen. That's the house of hidden wisdom. And so Jupiter is really tapping into all the hidden wisdom, the stuff you've buried and you didn't want to believe, or you didn't want to admit to, or you, because you were afraid everybody was going to look at you like, oh, look at you like we're crazy. This is what it's saying. It's time. We don't have time. It's time. This is your moment to shine. Go hard or go hard or go home. Also, this is a good for your love life as well. It's because your love life, we should be seeing some benefit from some stability. Okay, loyalty, devotion. If you're partnered up, if you're dating, strong people will come into your life that you're attracted to, right? Like people that are more leaders, probably have a little bit more of that masculine energy to them. So I'm not saying gender, I'm just saying that masculine energy. Strong. And this is the time for, for those of us that are dating and don't yet have a solid commitment, we're going to want one. If you've been dating and you want a commitment and then they have been flaky, you're going to be ready to kick them to the curb. I don't usually talk about that, but I think that's necessary because this is also a time where we are being moved around and being paired up with our partners. Some of them can be romantic. Some of them can be just like friendship and very deep, meaningful partnerships in that way. But we are being moved into a space where we have access to our partners, our divine partners, our soul tribes, okay? And this is a great time to find lasting success in business. Now, Venus square Saturn. So we've got Venus here. It's squaring Saturn here. Venus square. No, that's not Venus. That's not Venus. This is Venus in Scorpio squaring Saturn. That can add stress to your life because you're going to feel things are a little not harmonious. You might feel a little restricted. So watch out for, if you've got a good thing going, be careful that you're not externally displaying really what's an internal issue. And just be sure that you're clear on why you're feeling the way you are. And this could be in any relationship, friendship, business, or relationship. Because most of these fears are actually stemming from your own fears and your own self-criticism. So you may want to balance spending time with other people and spending some good quality time alone. Meditate, meditate, meditate. This is time for you to go for some walks. Go buy some water. Go sit in the park. It's still warm. Go get a massage. Whatever. Go sit in the library. I don't know. But get out. Get away. Close the bathroom door and sit in your bathtub. Okay? Be careful, though, that you're not kind of falling into like this I'm lonely situation. And a woe is me situation. That's not going to be good for you. Okay? It's not good. It's not good. Venus square Saturn. Yep, it's not doing anything right there. Venus is also in opposition to Uranus down here. That's really the only real aspect that Uranus has. I'm trying to find my thing. That's the only real aspect, strong aspect this month or this lunation cycle that Uranus has going. This can also signal changes in your love life, changes in your relationships. Gemini, stop it. So there are going to be changes in how you relate to people, how you choose to relate to people, how you choose to allow people to relate to you. Some of you may have already experienced this because Venus has been kind of approaching Uranus in retrograde. Um, there's just going to be a lot of changes, I would say, in your life, in all of our lives, and where Venus is placed for the ascended folks, right? That's in place in Scorpio. So this is again occult, deep, hidden wisdom, deep, hidden understanding of who you are at a very basal level, and how you really want to create and bear fruit in this world. And and also Scorpio is also the sign of contracts, other people's, right, leveraging other people's means or their resources, and finding external resources to leverage. Whereas Taurus is, of course, the house of the second house is the house of I have. So it's going to be a great time to leverage other resources in order to increase yours. I want to review, though, Uranus in retrograde usually has something to go on with like detachment, right? And with needing to detach from trauma and hangups that are causing blocks and concerns in your life, right? Where like you're not able to actually create good attachments because you're still hung up on these bad attachments. But you don't want to become so detached that you literally are not interacting with anybody. Like that's not going to work either. So you got to find a really good balance in this case, okay? But it's really asking you to really be independent and see things from your soul source, who you really are, your perspective, and asking you to put your needs ahead of or in front of or whatever others. Right? It's asking you to actually take part in really validate and honor your needs. Okay. While Venus in Scorpio, interestingly enough, can also kind of mean that as well. Venus in Scorpio can mean that, I mean, that's kind of like a lot of self-love, and that's kind of like a lot of, can you create your own like magic by yourself in that kind of tantric, right, way? It really being in tune with your creative and the creative process, which would usually mean some sort of coupling, right? So in this, can we take this time to ourselves, be very good to ourselves, and really utilize our own creative hidden energy in order to be able to do so, right? Now, I did want to touch something on Saturn while we were talking about Saturn and its aspects to Mercury, and then its aspect to Venus as well. Saturn, yeah, it's entrining Mars. Saturn in retrograde needs to become the master of its own reality. So this is literally, you are being pushed, you are being encouraged, you are being empowered to master your own reality, my ascended ones. Master your own reality. This doesn't get any better than this. Okay? And it needs to be done in whatever way feels the most natural for you. And it's probably going to be very different from how you were taught to do it. So if you were taught the only way to like live an abundant life or like to get prosperity is you're going to have to like, sit down and pray and fall on your knees and beg. Please, please, please. Can you bless me? Please, 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 please. Nah, I'm good on that. That's not the way it's going to go. That's not it. It's not what you're being asked to do. Stop. Stop. That's not what you're being asked to do. You're being asked to do this in the way that really, truly is the way that's good for you. No. Okay. Also, how they were talking. It's time for you to. It's also asking you to ditch the conditioning and recondition yourself to live your actual truth and not by everybody else's. The couple more things I want to talk about, and then I'm going to let you guys go. We've got Neptune. We've got Neptune doing a lot. Let me see if I put that in here. Neptune, Mars is in opposition to Neptune. Mars is in opposition to Neptune. That can bring some discouragement to this realm, right? It can bring some weakness. It can bring a feeling of inadequacy. It can be kind of trying to bring you down a little bit. Okay? Neptune, this, and it's not a strong opposition. Okay, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 5 degrees opposition. So it's not a strong one. And it's actually, I mean, it's, you know, Mars is moving away. Well, no, it's applying. It's moving up towards. So it's not, you're going to feel those effects more so in the next probably week to 2 weeks. Because Mars moves not quite a day. You know, it doesn't 365 days. So it doesn't move at the same rate as we do. So, you know, around the sun. So probably the next day or, you know, next week you'll feel it more so as it's applying and becomes dead on. And then it's going to like be waning and going away. I feel like what I want you to do is tap very strongly into this Mercury trining Jupiter energy, Venus sextiling Saturn energy, and then Saturn trining Mars energy, because it'll be happening, that'll be all happening at the same time. Okay, you're gonna have to move. All that's gonna be happening simultaneously. So there's a lot more positive energy to override this kind of, I'm discouraged, I'm not sure that I can do it, and I'm really stressed out because what if I fail, right? You can end up falling into those same self-deceptive patterns if you're not careful. Where you're feeling like you're just definitely never going to make it. You can end up falling into those patterns. Okay, so just be careful of that. All right. And so, you know, just be careful. All right. Don't fall into those patterns where you feel like you just can't do it and you can't do it and you can't do it. And recognize that what your third dimensional eyes see is not real. Right? That everything else going up in the higher dimensional realms is what's really creating your new reality. So tap into that. Right? This is why the ascended ones are going to have a little bit easier of a time. We're going to see a very big split because there's going to be third dimensionally minded people that are just going to be like, I don't even know how you can feel this way. Don't you see what's going on around you? Don't you see this? Don't you see that? I'm so fearful. I'm so afraid. And then you're just going to be like, well, yeah, whatever, but that's not how my life is going to go. And you're going to know inside of you, this is how your life is going to go. And this is how you're meant to live. And because of that, you're going to consciously create that life. So this is what I want you to tap into rather than all this other stuff. Okay. You're going to feel that way a little bit. So, but don't freak out. Okay. Also watch for the triggers. Watch for the triggers. You know, this isn't probably a good time for you to like self-medicate. So don't do too much of that either. Neptune is also kind of loosely opposing the sun as well. So that's, again, we're coming away from a direct opposition. Just like technically we're kind of coming away from the opposition with Mars. So that same difference, that same feeling, it's gonna loosen up. Okay. So just know that it's gonna loosen up. And again, Neptune in retrograde, there's this need to feel connected to the divine. And what can happen is that you're feeling like you're not connected to the divine. So you feel like you've got to do other things to be connected to the divine, or you're feeling left out, or you're feeling abandoned. And none of that is true. All of that is false. So just again, connect with the other transits, right? And then we've got the moon conjunct Neptune as well, which is actually kind of beneficial, I feel like. It's going to increase your emotional sensitivity. It could also increase a little bit of confusion, but I feel like because the moon is also opposing Mars, Mars is gonna like keep the moon. Like if it might make you a little moody, but I feel like it's gonna make you moody in the right way. It's gonna make you feel like I'm not taking your crap anymore. So watch out, especially my water signs. We're gonna be probably a little more moody, right? We're gonna be a little bit more on edge, but collectively, we're gonna be on edge. Globally, we're gonna be on edge. So tempers could potentially flare. You may be a little short-tempered. But what I want you to do is take a breath, breathe, inhale, and be like, okay, why am I short-tempered? Is it because I'm allowing something to continue to occur that I know is not of my highest good? And if that's the case, then stop. If that's the case, then don't. Right? If that's the case, then walk away from it and walk towards what's your highest good. Because you're going to know that intuitively, right? From Jupiter, from Saturn, from Mercury, and from Venus. And this is the best opportunity right now to see who's for you and who's against you, who's really about you and who's not. This is the best opportunity for you to really dive deep into who you are, how you feel about yourself. Do you really believe in yourself? All that kind of great stuff. All right. Okay, guys. Wow, this is a really dark one. Anyway, thanks, guys, for being here with me. I very, very much appreciate it. For putting up with my first stream using Restream. We are going to be probably going live again. I don't know if it's going to be later on tonight, but we'll go live again tomorrow or Saturday, I will say, to talk about the moon, like the crystal grid. We're going to reconstruct our crystal grid, and we're going to add some pyrite into it. I'll come up with a different grid, and then we're going to do meditation, and I'm probably going to pull some cards this month because I kind of feel like it. I want to give kind of a collective message. So just be on the lookout for all that great stuff. We're going to be putting out some more content as well. And don't forget to come check us out on Sunday for the Sunday Soul podcast. I'm going to have a special guest, Adora Winquist. I'm actually recording that interview shortly here, and then we're going to it's going to be broadcast on the Sunday Soul podcast, and then they're going to have a chance to go live with her, both on YouTube and Facebook, hopefully, if all works well. And we're going to have a chance to go live with her and ask her all sorts of questions and just kind of enjoy that. All right. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye, guys.